This is BullionMax, the podcast. Hi, I'm Mark Alyn, along with Sean Reynolds, the customer service manager for BullionMax. Happy New Year, Sean.
Happy New Year to you, Mark.
We are going to talk about the long game in holding precious metals. A lot of people, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, think of precious metals as like real estate. You buy it, you flip it.
Yeah, there are some people who come into purchasing metals thinking that that's what you can do. Now, you can to a certain extent, but the amount of time and attention it would take for you to do so successfully is kind of a crazy amount. Plus, it's a difficult thing to do because, again, nobody has a crystal ball to know what the market is going to do. You already know if you're in a hot real estate market and you were to buy a fixer-upper and you got some guys who can help you put a predictable amount of money into that house, and once it's repaired, you would know about what you should be able to get for that house. That is a more likely scenario where you would be successful flipping. Okay, so we're talking about time. Time being your best friend, the long game. All right, so many people who purchase metals may have the best of intentions to go the long game. But let's look at a situation where if you bought in March of this year, you probably paid a market rate that's over $26 an ounce for silver. Okay. But then you get to around September 1st, and we're just under $18. Okay, so that's a market swing of about $8. That's huge.
Yeah.
So I do know of a client who purchased some 100-ounce silver bars from us, and it in that time frame. And then his daughter had a storm damage her home, and he had to cash out. And he was like, "Oh man, look at that." And then he kicked back into dad mode right away. And he went, "Well, that's why I bought it. I bought it so I would have this set aside if somebody needed it." But that's an example of, under such a short time frame, how much of a loss you could experience. Now, lately, we've had some pretty crazy market movement upward. So, we started around $19 around Thanksgiving, and and today it's about $24.50. That's almost $5, folks. Wow.
That's a big percentage.
Yeah,
it's 20%.
Yes, and there was a day in there where the increase was $1.25. In my time in this industry, I had never seen that. So we're seeing volatility like we've never really seen before in the metals market. And that's part of kind of being into a new era. But also with that volatility, you have to remember the true benefit of metals in your portfolio is they will never be worth nothing. They will always be worth something. We're not going to decide. I don't care what you use for money in biblical times. I don't care what the Romans did. We're throwing gold and silver in the ocean. We just don't need it anymore. Okay. We totally forgot all the industrial applications of gold and silver. So yeah, we do need that. Pull that back out of the ocean. Okay. So the reason I say that is you have different purposes for different things in your portfolio. So, for example, you're hoping with your stocks to get something that has a higher rate of return than some other things. That's where you're looking for the big money. Okay, well, need I remind you about such a thing called Enron? I had a friend who lost all of their retirement. They tell you never put your eggs in one basket. Okay. I'm still upset about these friends of mine who did that. Every single penny they had in their retirement savings was Enron. They live on Staten Island. This was how they were going to go into their older years, and they went into their older years with absolutely nothing.
Wow.
So she has so many side hustles. I'll tell you what, I don't know which one is her main gig, but none of them are really good enough. So she's working harder now because she had something that she invested in that was a total loss. So again, with precious metals, you will never experience the total loss. It's always going to be worth something.
One of the things that I've learned in all the years that I have been talking about precious metals and investing in precious metals is that it is a long game.
Mm-hmm.
and that you buy it, and frankly, folks, you forget about it.
And hopefully the approach is to buy it and hold it until you can't. And until you can't could be until I need to use it to pay for things if we end up bartering with metals. That's one scenario. But you also might choose slightly different products if that might be in your future or how you think you'd use this. Now, if you're just hedging against inflation, you're right, Mark. You buy it, you put it in the safe, you just leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone. And until you can't hold it anymore might be the day you pass. And you give it to your kids and your grandkids for an even longer long game. And here's the point I want to make about that. If you would have invested in silver and gold just before the year 2000, silver was roughly $3 an ounce. Gold was roughly $300 an ounce. Well, here we're sitting at, between 1,800 and 1,850 an ounce for gold. Okay, that's a nice little return on the investment.
Absolutely.
You certainly beat inflation in that situation. You did a little better than just beating inflation.
Yeah, you crushed inflation.
Yeah, and silver is almost 25 again.
The same thing.
If you started at 3. So again, a very, very nice return. And this is where time is your best friend. So when I talk with new investors, and I'm not an advisor, I'm speaking completely from my history in the business and what has happened to my clients. And I did not advise them of anything. I just knew about these things from talking to them. So there are all kinds of different reasons to invest, but the buy and hold is easily, over time, the thing that really rewards you. That's your return on investment. That's great. Now, when I say buy and hold until you can't, there's probably some kind of event that makes you cash out. All right. Now, if it turns out you purchase things with a market rate of $20 for silver, $20 an ounce, and let's say it goes to $200 an ounce. If that's your reason to get out, that's your reason to get out. But guess what?
You got to wait.
Time allowed you to do it. You didn't cash out before that happened. But now you've got a reason, and it's a good reason, but it's because you were holding it. If something else came up and or maybe another scenario that tends to happen is people aren't taking their extra money. They're cashing out of things that are important, or they're not paying for other things that are important because the resounding message they're hearing is, I need to buy metals, I need to buy metals. Yes, you do. But the last thing you should do is purchase them if there's any opportunity in the near future for you to turn around and use them. Because there is no way on God's green earth you're going to make money doing that. You actually probably wasted money in premiums. And then if the market didn't do you any favors while you had it before you had to cash out, well, then that's not a smart investment. You really need a commitment to holding it. And I understand that life happens. And I had a guy when I first got into the business. I absolutely love this guy's mantra. He used to find out, well, he calculated how much money he was wasting. He was a money waster, Mark. He was horrible. He would go out to eat all the time. He would drink too much. He'd buy stuff he did not need or would never use. Well, he put a dollar figure on that. And he said, enough of that, enough of that. So he kind of created a rainy day fund for himself, and he was buying silver. And so what he did was he would sell silver back if there was a larger expense he had that he didn't want to put on a credit card. Now, he knew he probably was not going to make money on that investment because he was cashing out early, right?
Right.
But while I met him, he repaired a car from a significant fender bender out of silver, and he also bought a new dishwasher. He did not have to put it on his credit card, and he did not have to go into debt because he had silver, and he had specifically set it aside to buy stuff.
So precious metals is a savings account.
Can be. And for this guy, it was his rainy day fund, because he knew if he continued doing what he was doing, those funds were not going to be available. He had to put them into something that was going to be liquid, certainly, but still had a couple of hoops through it so he wouldn't just fritter it away. So you'd have to really think about the decision to make that sale back to us so we could cash him out for a part of his portfolio. You know, that kind of purpose is great, and he will continue to buy and hold until that next thing comes up. But he knows it will come up. He knows he will likely lose money because premiums are involved. And this is back when you were lucky if silver moved 15 cents a month. But with so little volatility, he knew he wasn't going to make money back on his premiums.
A lot of the people that you deal with, first time buying.
A lot of new folks. Lots of folks are just getting started. And that's one of the things that I try to impart with them, especially if they bring in that classic phrase that everybody says, Mark, which is I'm hedging against inflation.
Right.
Well, with that situation we talked about this year, if you bought stuff in March and you sold in September, you did not hedge against inflation. You had a loss. You had a big loss. So you have to hold it long enough to give the market activity time to beat the rate of inflation for your return on your investment. It's always going to differ because it depends on when you started, how much did you buy, what's your cost average, all of those things. But at least if your philosophy is, again, I'll hold it till I can't, you're in a much better situation.
And there's different kinds of investing in precious metals. You can buy rounds and bars, as well as collectibles. Right?
Right. And some coins have an additional opportunity in the future, again, provided you hold them long enough to have a numismatic or a collector value to them. So proof coins can do that. Coins that are limited mintages. Like right now, we've got these gorgeous kangaroos. They're a 2-ounce proof. There are only 200 of them made. Okay. For someone who's looking to invest in something that's going to be worth more than just the 2 ounces of gold in the future, it's hard to beat an opportunity where you can buy one of 200. So at some point in the future, when it's time to liquidate that, someone is going to want that, and someone is going to pay extra for that. Now, does that work with the everyday investing that you may do? Probably not. It's a big chunk. It's almost $5,000. So, you know, but it is one of those things where you may have something to offer in the future that nobody else has. And in that situation, you have an opportunity to make some extra money because it is one of those special coins.
This is BullionMax, the podcast. I'm Mark Alyn, and our co-host is Sean Reynolds. He is the customer service manager for BullionMax. As we enter the year 2023, I can't believe it, right?
Right.
Time is flying by so quickly.
It is. Seems like we just opened the store.
Yeah.
But we're 19, 20 months old now. We're coming up on 2 years in May of 23.
And as we enter this new year, what are some of the products that you think are really hot right now? Let's start with collectibles, because that's my favorite.
Sure. Collectibles, especially coming out of the holiday season, we sold a great deal of licensed products or things that you would consider to be a gift, where the ounce of silver or the amount of gold in it pales in comparison to what it is. You know, we recently got the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors coin. That's like them sitting on the couch at the beginning of every episode, but kind of a grotesque one. Okay, you wouldn't buy stacks and stacks and stacks of those as your standard ounces. But for someone who's a fan of The Simpsons or somebody who wants to complete the series to later sell the series as a collector item at a higher rate, okay, there's an opportunity there. Of course, as we get into the new year and we have the new year of coins, people want to purchase those. And usually the first one, I need my Eagles. Get Eagles every year. I got to get them. Nobody waits for that. January comes around and everybody's got to have their Eagles. You know, I don't know if it's a keeping up with the Joneses thing or what the story is.
Right.
But that's it. People will be looking for King Charles on coins, and as soon as he appears, people will want to be purchasing those. People will be purchasing things that still have the Queen on them.
I was going to ask,
like Type 1, Type 2 Eagles for that 35th anniversary reboot. It's time for a new monarch to be on there. Well, you're going to have maybe, of course, I don't know the actual numbers, but let's say half the mintage would be the Queen and half the mintage would be the King. That's two low mintages, last year of issue and first year of issue. Both of those would have a possibility of being a future collector's item, just because those are the ones that seem to be sought after, first year, last year of issue.
With the way the world reacted to Queen Elizabeth, with the coins that are still available, have they appreciated, do you know, in value?
I don't believe they have. You know, time is going to tell what will be the true collector's items. I would think the 2022 Britannia, the 2023 Britannia with the Queen would be, I would say, 2022 Maple Leaf, 2023 Maple Leaf. You know,
is that gold or silver or both?
Both. So even the standard bullion type of stuff has some possibilities to being collector's items, simply because it's first year and last year of issue. But that's exciting. That's one of the collector's elements of this. So even though it's your investment and you've decided, hey, I want maple leafs, or hey, I want kangaroos from Australia, or whatever that is, why not get the Queen? Just cause. Why not get the King? Just cause. I have no way of knowing for sure if that's going to make any difference at all. But again, what tends to happen, and in my experience, those are the things that people look for down the line. You know, it's not that they're amazingly special, but they're still special.
Of course. And
yeah.
I mean, during the holiday season, we talked about things like Disney products, Pluto and Donald and Mickey, 007, James Bond, and others. And they're just so beautiful to look at. They are actually works of art in gold and silver.
Yes, and this is where I'm a huge silver fan, because if I like it, I can afford it, and I'm going to buy it. Okay, I can't always do that with the gold stuff. That's cool. You know, we another 2-ounce gold coin that has opal built into it in the shape of Australia, and then all the indigenous species. Fantastic coin. Okay, again, limited mintage of 200, and it's over $5,000. So I'll still buy the 30 years of Bond silver coin for $32 though. That'll do.
Well, yeah, I get it. Do people call, and can they buy a single coin? It just occurs to me.
That's a great question. Yes, they can purchase whatever they like. So we have the we have the silverback notes available currently that cost $10. If that's all somebody wants to buy, that's fine. So there are some places that will have a minimum order. Now we do have free shipping if you spend $199 with us. So that would seem silly to spend $9.99 on your silverback dragon and then pay $9.95 for shipping. And that's not the typical order. So, you know, those of you watching going, that shipping's high. That shipping's kind of high, $9.95. Okay, I have some flat rate shipping boxes around here that I was, you know, packing up to send out my world famous Chex Mix. Flat rate box that size, $10.50. Don't tell me $9.95 is too expensive.
No, that's not.
That's the small box is $10.50. So hush on what the shipping costs if your order's not $199. Come on. What do you want me to put it in an envelope and send it to you? Get it all dinged up in transit, and then you want me to replace it? I don't want to replace it. I want to send it in a safe box the first time.
So and it's also packed well too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want things to arrive for our customers in the same condition they left the vault. You know, we don't want anything to happen to it. Dings, scratches, dents, folds, whatever it is. You know, the other thing that you have to consider is we've got more than a few cents involved in packing material and boxes and things of that nature to make sure it arrives safely. So it's not just postage, kids.
In our remaining couple of minutes, and we've talked about this before, Sean, but let's reiterate it. Where it's a new year, let's remind everybody that when you shop on BullionMax.com, you're the one in charge. And if you call the customer service line, you're still the one in charge. You're not going to be sold.
Correct.
Tell us about that philosophy, because I think it's terrific.
It really is about helping people find products that would meet their investment goals. And everybody's doing something a little differently, but many people are really trying to do the same things. Now, I don't want people to buy things because, hey, Sean said buy this. No, I want people to buy things because they heard me say, I want you to watch the premiums, which really drives what things cost. I want you to look at, is this a coin, a bar, or a round? When it comes to be what I call judgment day, which is the day you sell, because your stuff is going to get judged. Somebody's going to look at it and they're going to think one thing or another. All right, maybe you want things that are a little more recognizable when it comes time to sell. Okay, but what's that cost compared to some other options? Let's look at that. And then you're absolutely right, Mark. What do you think about that? Is this worth the difference or is it not? That's not for me to decide. So I might share with you what would be my acceptable delta between the two.
Right.
You know, and so I may say, okay, compared to a round, if I can get a recognizable bullion coin for less than $2 each, more than what the round would be, that's the way I buy. But you do what you want to do.
So, and if you visit BullionMax.com, there's lots of information and education on the site to help you make that informed decision. And I think that's what sets BullionMax apart from many other companies.
Yes, and we also have a great sense of humor in our product descriptions. I know George wrote on one of those 2-ounce gold coins. It said, if you read through all these talking points, it probably already sold. And for that, I'm sorry.
That's cool. George is a funny guy.
Yeah, well, you know, you try to inject a little humor into something that otherwise can be pretty serious. You know, there are very serious reasons why people are investing right now. And so to have an open ear to listen and to have some things in writing out there that are fun as well, you know, we're hoping that can create a better experience too. You know, it's all a point of difference. It can't always be just price. You have to look at the whole value proposition. Like before, Mark, we were talking about how the box is packed and the packing material and all the effort that's put into making sure everything arrives safely. And then if it doesn't arrive safely, how do we respond to that? You know, normally, as soon as we can get the carrier to say we broke it or we lost it, we're already reshipping a replacement order. We're not going to put people through the rigmarole while we wait to settle with the carrier and our own insurance company. And I don't know anybody else who's doing it that quickly in the business. And that's part of me driving my part of the ship.
You are in fact the customer service king at BullionMax.
Well, there is just one, so yeah, I'll take that king.
Yeah, got it. You are I am the king. That's what you were supposed to say.
Absolutely, I am the king. Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Sean, thank you very much for joining us again. Happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you want to subscribe, because I always forget, just go to the little
click on the button
on YouTube here.
Exactly. As we add new episodes, you'll be notified to come and check out the silliness, the infotainment, the whatever you want to call these. But we certainly appreciate you all taking the time to watch these.
Absolutely. Well, Sean, thank you very much. Thank you at home for watching as well. And we wish you a very happy New Year too. I'm Mark Alyn along with Sean Reynolds. We'll see you next time.
Hold it till you can.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.